So I'll just say it. Traffic is a fucking nightmare, okay? I mean, everywhere. We've become so immune to it. It's become so pervasive that it's almost like technology in general. We've become immune to the fact that we are immersed in shit we can't handle. There are so many things around us that frustrate us, so many things that we have to learn to deal with and just cope with. There are two things in this world that actually still really bother me. Even though I've let most shit go, and as I said, it takes a lot to piss me off, I don't generally get mad at these things, but these two things are, lines and traffic. And they're the same thing. It's just lines of cars. So lines, queues, as you would call them in the UK, are one of the most miserable experiences that I have in my life. I do not go to places where there are long lines. I don't like fairs. I don't like Disneyland, Disney World, theme parks, any of that shit. If I do go, it has to be on a weekday when nobody else is there, where it's just dead. Because personally, it's just a huge waste of my time. Here's the thing, and here's what gets me. It's my own impatience that causes this, and I'm totally aware of it. I'm completely 100% self-aware, and have been for years, that the time that passes in that line really is insignificant. Could be 5 or 10 minutes. Or in the case of me getting home right now from work, it's an hour and 2 minutes, which is a long time. Now, if I leave right now, I'll get home in an hour. I decided to make videos instead, knowing that in about a half an hour, it'll get down to 45 minutes, and eventually, I'll be able to get home in like 35 minutes is about the quickest that I can make it home from here. So what am I saving? 25 minutes by making, a few videos that take longer than that. I'll get home quicker if I leave now because I will be in the queue. But for some reason, I would rather just sit idly somewhere and do something else than bear all of these morons on the highway. And I'm one of them, but I'm well aware of that. I try to follow every traffic rule. I use my turn signal. I don't cut and weave in and out of traffic, but I do take some shortcuts, and I know when to get in the right lane to go a little faster and then jump back into the left lane. There are places. I live in Portland, and so I live in Vancouver, Washington, and Portland's right across the bridge. But here's the thing. Portland traffic is nothing compared to Seattle. Seattle is a freaking nightmare. I mean, it is horrendous. They even have exits on the left side of the freeway up there, which they do in a lot of places, but not in Portland. So if people who are from here who don't know, they don't realize that there's exits up, in the left lane, so they have to get over like 5 or 6 lanes, and it's horrendous. But that's not even as bad as going down south to San Fran or LA. One time when we were coming back from San Francisco from a show, a concert, I think it was a Dead concert. I think it was their Fare Thee Well tour back in like 2015, I believe. And we came up around the bay along Silicon Valley, where Silicon Valley is. And it was like an 8-lane freeway through the middle of the desert, nothing out there. And it was bumper to bumper with like 100 degrees outside. We had no air conditioning, so it wasn't fun. But it was like 3 hours sitting in this shit. Everyone was going from Silicon Valley to their homes way far away, like, an hour or two away. These motherfuckers sit there every day for, hours on end to get home. I've always been, of course, like, well, that's just what people do. That's what my wife will tell me. It's like, well, that's what people have to do. I just can't do it. I do it, but I can't stand it. And everything I've tried to like overcome my hatred of waiting is like, it doesn't work. And I think that that's maybe just part of me and who I am. Like, I can't separate that part of myself. I'm impatient when it comes to that. But here's the thing, I'm not an impatient person. I I'm very patient with people. I'll put up with their bullshit for a long time. When I finally do snap, I usually have quite a bit to say, and yeah, but I'm generally, easy to please, amicable, don't want to fuck with anybody, don't fuck with me, kind of thing. But being patient with people I don't know in settings where I want to get somewhere or to something, I guess that's the issue. And it's a tough one because I mean, God, I can't even imagine like places like New York. I watched this show the other day about they're putting in these toll. They're basically these cameras that go all the way across all four lanes, and there's one for when you're entering the whatever economic zone, and one for when you're leaving. When you enter, your plates are read. They're plate readers, so they read your license plate, and you're automatically charged $15 just to come into that part of New York. And I was thinking about like how horrendous it would be to be a truck driver and have to deal with this bullshit, because it's like 25 or $30 for a truck. So the thing is, these trucks are delivering food for these rich motherfuckers that don't want the trucks, because there was people who were interviewed that were, with nice, wealthy folks with nice cars saying, oh, well, the roads are just too clogged. It's basically like, we don't want all these plebs, clogging up our roads so we can drive down and get a mocha and come back home. But I understand the traffic problem. It's just ridiculous, because the trucks are like the main source of all these goods that are coming into these buildings. And we live in a ridiculous, like Dubai. I think Dubai is one of the funniest places on earth. It is the pinnacle, the culmination of all human stupidity. I mean, I think they've started to set up sewage treatment plants now, but they built the whole city, skyscrapers and all, with no sewage treatment plants. So they have poop trucks that line up. I'm sure everybody knows about those. But if you don't, look up the poop trucks of Dubai. It's pretty intense. Hundreds of trucks lined up on the road every single day waiting to come in, and they come in one after another, and they literally pump the poop out. They tried to build these like fake islands, and they ended up basically not knowing what they were doing, and now they're falling apart. And it's like, I think it's like 60% or more of the city is actually like migrant workers. So it's like a facade, the whole thing. You call it a Potemkin village, right? Potemkin village is like when people put on a front. It's like when you go to North Korea and they give you the, state-sponsored tour, where it's just like propped up cardboard storefronts where they have a bunch of fresh beans that are probably like, props for their movies. And they make it seem like everybody's happy and joyful. And I think that's what a lot of cities do, But what are we going to do about the traffic problems? I mean, there's so much that could be done, but no, we're moving towards individual electric cars instead, because that's going to save us all. Fuck public transit. Honestly, dude, I'm a carpenter. I have to carry my tools, but if I could get here and drop my tools off like one day and then be able to leave them here and then take a light rail here or a high-speed train or just any train from where I live to here, I'd be all over it. I'd be like, that'd be wonderful. I'd take the bus. I'd take a train to work. I used to ride the bus everywhere when I was a kid. I mean, from the time I was like, turned 12, I had a bus pass. I went to school where I had to like transfer 3 different buses way out in Northeast Portland. And so I think public transit is great. The problem with buses themselves is they're fucking horrendous, and they're not maintained. The people that you will encounter, let's just say, are less than admirable, but that's not always the problem. The problem is that buses get stuck in the same traffic we do. So if there's an accident on the bridge, like this morning when I left, there was an accident somewhere down on 205, which all the way back across the bridge, way up there, that's the road I need to get to work. So I had to take a completely different route. And, so you never know. It'd be nice to just be able to leave at a certain time, But here I am bitching about traffic. I guess I made my point. I don't like traffic. I don't like lines. It wasn't really about traffic itself, but my own impatience and trying to understand myself and why I feel the way I do about things. And I know that somebody else out there will understand and relate to where I'm coming from. Could be patient with everything else, but no, when it comes to traffic. And I've actually done a lot better than I used to do. I mean, I sit back and I just ride along. I mean, like, I've done a lot of driving. I understand the concept of, staying in my lane. It's funny when everybody just jukes back and forth and that one lane goes, then the next lane goes, and it goes back and forth like this. You'll see the same guy over and over trying to get around everybody, and he's just spending all this time and energy trying to get ahead, and he can't, because that's not how traffic works. You just got to roll with it, baby. So I try. But I guess maybe I'm more patient than I give myself credit for, because nobody out there wants to be in traffic. I mean, I'm not the only one out there who's frustrated. So it is what it is. But I have to be in traffic to get to my job. I don't have to stand in lines to get on a Ferris wheel. Yeah, I've got kids, so I do. But honestly, they're not even into that anymore. They're finally old enough to not really be into fairs and stuff. So maybe I'll be saved from that. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Peace out. And I'm going to try to do lives every Sunday now, a live cast, because it's a day when I think I could, squeeze out a couple hours, chat about shit. So be well. Be patient. See you later.